Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. This is America. We use H here. Sorry. I don't know what that noise was, but somebody call priest, please. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going into a whole new Reddit for my channel, that's r/MaliciousCompliance. Beforehand, if you have not already, like the video, comment down below during the video if you see something you would like to discuss, and afterwards consider subscribing to the channel. Let's go. My neighbors wanted to call professional to mark their property line, and my parents agreed. This was a long time ago, but I remember it clearly. We moved into a community with tight spaces in between our houses and our neighbors, and we don't like them being able to see into our kitchen. We put up a bunch of plants costing thousands, but my parents thought it would be worth it. A week later, my parents awoke to the plants completely chopped down. My father was furious and marched down to our neighbor's house. He told my father the plants were on his property line, therefore he had the total rights to take them down. He warned that if anything were to go on his property again, he would report us to the authorities immediately. Later that day, my father called the company that put in the plants, and with the warranty, we could have them replanted next week for no charge. We made sure there was no way it was on our neighbor's property. However, a few days later, we caught him chopping them down at 2 a.m. We called the police upon obstruction of property, and after a chat with my neighbor, he decided to call a professional and mark his property line. My father agreed. A few days later, I got home to find orange tape in my neighbor's front yard. Apparently, his fence was 11 feet over our property line. We watched as he took down his fence, completely furious. Within the next month, we were enjoying our new space and privacy in our backyard, and my neighbor ended up losing a quarter of his backyard. My neighbor ended up having to pay almost $10,000 for the destruction of our property, and we got to plant our own plants again. TLDR, my neighbor chopped down our plants because he claimed we were on his property. After calling a professional, he lost 11 feet of his backyard and had to pay for the destruction of property, and we got to keep our plants. This whole Reddit is effectively the whole discussion of you better know exactly what you're doing or else you're gonna get screwed over by karma. I don't care if he's dead, put him on the phone. My father died on Father's Day 2012. He was divorced and living alone, and I am an only child, so that means that I had to wrap up all of his affairs. This story centers around us trying to get his utilities canceled. I called in to see what we had to do to get them canceled. The lady I spoke with on the phone said to send in his certified death certificate. I sent in the certified copy of his death certificate the next day. The next month, I got another bill. I called again and a new woman answered. She said that because I wasn't on the account that she had to speak with the account holder. I informed her that the account holder was dead, but she wouldn't budge. I had to make an appointment with a supervisor so she could speak to him herself in person. I showed up to the Board of Public Utilities with another death certificate and his ashes in a clear bag that they returned his remains in. I plopped them down on the center of her desk and said that when she talked to him to tell him that I loved him for me. The woman went pale, flew out of her chair, and called the cops. When they showed up, she had claimed that I had assaulted her, and yes, my dad's remains were still sitting in the middle of her desk with the death certificate. The cops questioned me as to why I would do that. I told them the story. The supervisor's boss was called in, and they all stepped away from the desk for a private talk. While they were talking, the cops came over to talk to me. They said that I shouldn't take human remains out in public, and there was no laws that were broken. I said that I agreed with them and that it was extreme, but she insisted to speak with him in person. By then, they were done talking between themselves. The supervisor's boss kissed up to me and got it taken care of. But the story isn't over yet. I had to call back a few days later to get utilities back to the house in my name. When the person on the phone saw the address and my name, I was immediately put on hold. The supervisor's boss that finally helped me got on the phone. She sucked up to me and waived all of the fees that come with setting up utilities. Just as the call was ending, she informed me that she was again so sorry for the employee's lack of compassion. She said that the employee was terminated, and again she is so very sorry. TLDR, ignorant employee asked to speak to dead dad, had a meeting in person, brought the ashes, she got fired. Edit, I can't believe this blew up. I am so grateful for all the love and support in this post, and for those who doubt the validity of the story, I hope when you are in my shoes and doing the same thing that you have an easier time than I did. I will have to say, you are a straight up savage. This is more savage than the dude that paid his parking ticket with pennies. I'm not even lying. And as for the person in the call center, that's basically the result of Karen when she needs to get the job when she has the kids. See, the Karen can only hold their job so far because a Karen is a Karen, and she's going to try to act like a Karen in her job, and that's going to get her fired because of a Karen. Karens don't do well when they're on the other side of customer service. And come on, tell me she's not a Karen. She wanted to speak to somebody and she didn't take no for an answer. What do you mean I can't drive my car? I've been a mechanic my entire working life so far, and this is one of my favorite experiences. I had a customer come in complaining about a vibration. I put the vehicle on the lift and checked the front front end, I found a nearly broken tire rod and a faulty rack and pinion. So basically, the passenger side front wheel was not fully secured to the steering system and would soon break and cause the wheel to completely disconnect from the steering. I told the customer how much the repair would be and told her it was unsafe to drive. She asked me to put it back together so she could leave. I told her that I could not do that because if it broke after I let her leave, I could be held liable. She started yelling and screaming about calling the cops and suing me and how her cousin's brother knows a guy who's related to the chief of police and I'll be arrested. She calls the police and they come out. I show the officers the vehicle and they understood the safety concern. They told me to just put the car down and let her leave. I did and even made her sign a statement declining crucial safety repairs. She left with the most haha I told you so smug grin on her face until she left the property, got pulled over and her car impounded. They also gave her a ticket for reckless driving. I was so happy seeing her car get towed. And for clarification, the cops told her it was against the law to drive it. The state laws back then allowed me to do exactly what I did. I offered to discount the price of the repair and take payments. She still refused. And I don't care how well versed you think you are in the law, you don't know when or where this took place. And no, I will not tell you what state I am in because I have already had several people message me saying they are going to try and find my shop just to harass and blast me. Are people seriously on Reddit trying to find this guy? Like no, why would you do that? That's just rude and that's harassment. I don't want to know what state this is in because I do not care. That's the thing. Everybody else should not care where this is. Just the story that it did happen is malicious compliance itself. You don't need to go out and try to hunt the guy down. As for the customer that got the karma, yeah, that's kind of the bad side about mechanics. When people tell you that phrase, we can't let you leave, sometimes it is true, and in this case it was a safety hazard, and on other times that's just the mechanics trying to get you to spend more money, like saying these tires are not good, we can't legally let you leave, when nobody can really just prove it but unless they look up the laws right then and there. I've had my own bad experiences with mechanics, and unfortunately sometimes they will not tell you how much it is going to be right up front, and then towards the end of it, they say, oh yeah, we're going to charge you $1,200 for this $100 part, because of labor. But unfortunately, nobody notices the good apples in the bunch, people only notice the bad apples. Sorry ma'am, of course your son can try the 7M SHU hot sauce. I work in a hot sauce store in a busy outlet mall. We are a well-liked locally owned business, and have many local return customers, but at this particular location, we also get a lot of tourists who are curious about our challenge items or Hot Ones products. We have a large variety of samples available every day, literally like 100 hot sauces, 50 plus barbecue wing sauces just out of the table, and we can put another 50 plus bottles or so from the fridge if one's open. Every so often we get people who come into the store and ask to try the hottest sauce. They love jalapenos in their burritos and have eaten habaneros straight, and they're ready to enter the ring, swallow some sauce, and gain the admiration of a couple of friends and bystanders at the cost of a stomachache. We usually try to guide them to the 10th hottest sauce in the store, burn them with it, and move on to something mild or medium suited to their taste. Today, while I was selling items to people who were actually paying for things, a 10 or so year old boy enters the store. I always get wary when children enter the store alone because it is full of glass bottles. They usually dart straight for the shelves to pick something up, but this child came barreling towards me like a bullet. While I make change for a couple buying some sauce, he calls out to me, "Excuse me," in a horrendous whiny pitch. I ignore the rude interruption and continue my conversation with my customers. He parrots it again 12 times or so back to back as I thank these people and get them out of the store. Finally, I turn to him. "How can I help you? Where the frick are this kid's parents?" "Hi, can I try the hottest sauce in the store?" Not this stuff again. I'm not dealing with this. Not with a 10-year-old kid. I explained to him that the hottest sauce on the table is Hellboy Right Hand of Doom. It's spiked with 6.66 million Scoville extract, and honestly, if you're not experienced with this kind of stuff more, then just a tiny bit can really mess up a good part of your day. Take my word for it. I explained to him that he has to be 19 years old, and to try it, he has to sign a waiver, which is bullcrap because I'm off in 30 minutes, so frick this kid, and instead guide him to a tasty fermented habanero, which that he coughs his eyes out on before explaining to me that he could handle the Right Hand of Doom because his dad eats spicy peppers with him all the time. Okay, I say. He leaves, thank God. 15 minutes later, I'm interrupted by another customer, this time a gigantic woman in a blue spouse. She sat next to my sample table like a giant blueberry, blocking up 20% of my floor space. "Excuse me, apple doesn't fall far. The customers I'm with are polite, and excuse me to speak to her. You didn't let my son try the sauce." I explained to her that it has extract in it several hundred times hotter than anything he has ever eaten, and that it can cause him severe discomfort, and that I will not let him try it in my store. I explained that she is free to purchase the sauce and have him try it at home if she so wishes. She explains to me that she married a Mexican man and that I wouldn't believe things we ate in Mexico City where he grew up. When I asked what she had eaten where, she told me things hotter than anything we have in the store. At this point, her daughter interrupts our conversation. I shot you not. Excuse me? What? I'm getting annoyed. I was annoyed from the second I saw this kid, and now he's back 20 minutes later with 3 of him. Why do you sell Valentias? It's not even hot sauce. Jesus Christ, aren't you from Mexico? It says freaking salsa picante on the gosh darn bottle. It is $5.50. I'm off at 6. I've had enough. How about this? You can try the sauce, and if it's as mild as you think, I'll let him try it. She agreed and grabbed her sample stick. I reached for the right hand of doom and unscrewed the cap. Its nuclear aroma sending memories of aches to my stomach. As she goes to dip the stick into the sauce, I warn her only take a small amount. She grins at me and dips the stick all the way into the sauce. Trap card, Bart. She slaps it into her mouth. Immediately, she looks uneasy before she throws herself into pure agony. She is coughing, swinging her head back and forth, trying desperately to speak, but she cannot muster any words. She dropped her sample stick in all the chaos. After a solid few minutes of coughing and dry heaving, she manages a single word, water. I explained to her that water won't help her now. My relief walks through the door just in time to witness the finish. She tells me that the only reason she is coughing is because it went down the wrong pipe. She then immediately vomits into our garbage can. She apologizes for spitting up, like she didn't just rocket launch half a tire of chum into my trash can. She then leaves without saying anything else. I tossed out the trash with a smile on my face and clocked out. You know, it's not like there was a warning label on it or anything. No joke, I have gone to some hot sauce places before, and I just like to browse around just curiously, but I always get intimidated by the really hard stuff. And if the mother had that reaction to it, you could just imagine she would come back with lawyers if her kid had been given that stuff. And anybody who works retail will understand that when you see just a random kid walk in, you think, oh great, the parents think this is another Chuck E. Cheese or something, and then just they wind up messing around stuff, and they're only bad for the business at that point. And it's another thing when they just come up and start trying to scan stuff on your counter scanner just because it's there. For some reason, they must get a delight out of hearing the no beep. But with that, that is going to have to be it for the video. If you would like what you have seen, be sure to like the video, comment down below what you liked about the video, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. I will be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.